This is a podcast about two people who don't trust each other, who talk about horror movies once a week, and it's streaming.
Anger.
This is evil house. Place of sickness.
Okay, I'll start. Hey, everybody. I'm Brian,
I'm Becca.
and this is Streaming with the Lights On.
A very well planned podcast.
How are you doing, Becca?
I am doing super great. Not super great. I mean, I'm great.
Hey, you can be honest if it's shitty.
Well, I'm going to be off work the next 2 days, so
Woo.
I'm super excited about that.
I'm sure you got some movies planned.
Oh, I can't really plan because I'm a lot more of a mood watcher, and the weather is not going to cooperate like it did today. We had rain all day, and it was magical.
Yeah, Becca
So-
weather.
It was definitely Becca weather. I got a lot of movies watched though, so I'll probably just try and catch up on some TV.
Yeah, your watching queue is longer than your lifespan, or anyone's lifespan.
It is, and then people tell me I need to watch other things, and I'm just like, yeah, let's just add more. I want to watch it. Speaking of which, I feel the need to mention I was going to talk about Ted Lasso, and I'll briefly mention that Ted Lasso is phenomenal if you haven't checked it out. Every episode makes me laugh, and when I say laugh, I mean laugh out loud, which is super rare.
That is.
But I did want to mention that they dropped the first teaser for the new season of Stranger Things,
Oh, they did.
which is a big deal because I'm a ginormous Stranger Things fan, and we have had a couple of arguments over Stranger Things. So that's going to be a lot of fun when that comes out, which I don't think they have released a date on that, but I'm very excited. That's one of those shows where I will watch all 10 episodes of a season in one sitting in one day. So, yeah.
Well, we put up our projector and watched a movie for the first time on it. We watched Spice World.
Oh, perfect.
It's my first time seeing Spice World. Courtney introduced me to it.
How I don't understand how you haven't seen some of these movies. Like first it was Jennifer's Body, now it's Spice World. I don't think that you're human.
I mean, I still haven't seen Jennifer's Body.
I know, and I don't believe that you're human sometimes. Were you not a Spice Girls fan?
I mean, I was. I don't know. I just never saw the movie when I was like 10 years old.
Oh my god.
I know.
I
But,
can't relate to you anymore. Podcast over, canceled. Delete this.
all right. Thanks, everyone. I tell you our social media handles, but, well, guess we could still record.
I guess so, yeah. We didn't really intro the podcast at the beginning though, so
I mean, it's the 4th episode. People have been listening in, but if not, we're streaming with the lights on. Every week we talk about a spooky movie in the horror genre that is
currently available.
Yes, I was going to get to that. You need to trust me. Trust.
I can't trust an alien.
This is a podcast about two people who don't trust each other, who talk about horror movies once a week, and it's streaming.
Anger.
And this week we covered one on what platforms is this movie on?
This is currently on Shudder, and it is also available on Showtime. So basically the S's.
And it is The House by the Cemetery. It was made in 1981, I believe.
Yes. I'm going to let you pronounce the director's name.
Yes, it was directed by Lucio Fulci.
There you go.
Sure. Pretty much all Italian cast. It's one of those, I think we can put in the category of giallo horror. For big fanatics, they'll know what that is. But for those who aren't in the know, giallo is a subgenre, culturally specific, of Italian horror. And not just any Italian horror, but really it was coined and birthed by Dario Argento.
I don't know if this one qualifies as giallo.
I think in some ways it fits the camp, but in other ways it may not be out there enough.
Right.
yeah, it definitely falls somewhere in there. Very much an Italian horror movie, very much an 80s movie.
Do you want? I will go ahead and read the synopsis.
What? Oh, you're gonna read it.
I'm gonna read it today.
Okay.
Yeah, it has one of the best taglines. Read the fine print. You may have just mortgaged your life.
That's great.
Just funny because they didn't purchase the property, so they didn't mortgage anything. So, the synopsis. After a doctor kills his mistress and himself while researching the mysterious previous owner of his Boston home, his colleague, Dr. Norman Boyle, takes over his research and moves his family from New York City to the Boston mansion. Soon after, Boyle's young son, Bob, becomes plagued by visions of a young girl who warns him of the danger within the house. Dun dun dun. I wanted to add that it is like I think it's the last film in Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy. The other two being City of the Living Dead and The Beyond.
Oh.
So House by the Cemetery is the last, you know.
I would say that was a long synopsis, but there's a lot going on in the movie.
Right.
So that's fair. Fair synopsis.
And I wanted to say that I had we had texted about this movie a little bit before we watched it this week because I had some serious anxiety about watching this movie. And I'm happy to report I was blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah, I was too.
Did not have any nope moments, did not freak out. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself. Either I am
Good job.
becoming more desensitized or this one wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I blew it out of proportion too. It was still a very interesting watch, and a lot of it was nothing I expected at any given point because the rules in this movie of like the supernatural rules of what elements are thrown into this movie, it's such a mishmash of like, it's a big gumbo of horror tropes. And so I never knew like what would get thrown into the movie at what point. Is this a monster? Is there a serial killer? Is it supernatural? You know, there's definitely ghosts at some point. So there's a lot going on in this House by the Cemetery. my first note was tits right away, LOL. Totally unnecessary and very on brand. And not just on brand for that, but the whole intro and the rest of the movie is peak 80s.
It is, but I was gonna say, like, I think that the beginning nudity was the only nudity in the movie.
I think you're right.
Is that I don't think it didn't have a
No,
sex
they
scene.
show, what's the title? The woman who goes to, is she the real estate agent?
Probably, yeah.
They show her like dismembered torso.
Oh, yeah. We did not say that there is a major trigger warning.
What trigger warnings do we want to give out here for this movie?
Excruciating long scene of animal violence.
The very drawn out bat death scene.
It was just unnecessary.
It felt to me like there was a purpose, and I wasn't as bothered by this because it was just so clearly a fake bat. But I did find myself going through a mix of emotions in the scene. At first, I didn't really care because I thought like, okay, I've seen this a million times. Bat gets in the girl's hair and then it's gone. But then it's not gone. And then her husband's just standing there staring at her while she gets attacked by this bat. And she finally says, Norman, help me. It's like, oh, okay. And then it bites him and won't let go. And I just found myself laughing because it just felt like a comedy movie gag. Because it's like...
Well, and the other thing is, he took forever to kill that bat.
I know, and that's part of what was so funny about it. But also, like, it got to a point in him trying to kill the bat that I wasn't really laughing. And I thought, oh, I'm getting uncomfortable now.
It was just... It was brutal, and it was long, and it was just... Why didn't he go outside at all?
But that's this kind of movie. Every other death was drawn out, and, like, that just to me was like, this bat is supernatural. There's something about this bat that is supposed to be evil. This whole scene is just a tease of what's to come. So I understood it. It had a purpose to me, but it definitely, like, at times was funny, at times was uncomfortable. So yeah, I just went on a roller coaster with the bat death scene. Oh, and also, this is a special warning for Courtney. There is what flies turn from.
Oh, yeah. No, yep. there were those.
Lots and lots of maggots near the end of the movie. So
You know what movie I thought of the whole time while I was watching this? So there is this god awful movie called Ghost House that I am really only aware of because of Riff Tracks. And I have to think that Ghost House was heavily inspired by this movie, among other movies. But it was just Ghost House was just a hot mess. But for some reason, that movie just kept popping into my head the whole time I was watching.
I mean, it has its own unique style. You know, it does. At least for me, it still felt more like Italian horror than American necessarily, but the soundtrack's a banger.
Yeah.
It's got synth, it's got church organs, or I don't know what is going on there, but it sounds like what you'd hear walking into a stereotypical haunted house, and I'm here for it. It was great. In fact, I think sometimes the music gave me more jumps than the scares.
Yeah.
Because it'd just be like, who are you? I'm the babysitter. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. But yeah, so I think this movie was very over the top intentionally and had a lot of fun with itself.
I don't know if it had fun with itself because I feel like Italian horror tends to take itself seriously in a serious way. And maybe I haven't seen enough of, Italian horror movies not taking themselves seriously.
That's a good point.
I don't feel like there, at least maybe at this time period, there isn't a lot of self-reflection going on.
Yeah, you're right.
Unless you have, giallo, where they pointed this out. I had just watched In Search of Darkness Part 2 on Shudder Friday evening. 253 minutes.
Oh, God.
Was a long commitment. But they pointed out, how one giallo movie would come out and it would be really popular, and then there would be so many others not copying it, but on the same vein of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think, at least in this time period, Italian horror was really aware of itself on like this can be a little ridiculous level.
I'm just imagining that the filmmakers had fun being as over the top as they were. But again, that's kind of my experience of the movie.
I wanted to say my note started off with, I think we need to just right off the bat say that the blood splatter in this movie was great. The blood splatter in most, if not all, Italian horror movies is just gorgeous. And
it's a word for it.
It is. It's gorgeous. And I think, you can say that because obviously it's not real blood splatter. It's not real blood. But the way that they think about how the blood is going to fall on a surface, whether it be a person or a wall,
right?
They put a lot of thought into that. And it shows, and it's just visually very appealing. This movie, if you are a blood splatter fan, will not disappoint you on that respect. And it also had the very Italian horror close-ups of eyes. There were a lot of close-up of eyes because
yes,
if you have seen any Argento movies, like Opera is probably the biggest culprit of eyes. Zombie as well. They love their eyes. This one didn't have much eye violence, thank God, but a lot of close-ups on the eyes, especially the babysitter, which is a whole weird thing that I felt like there was more story to that they either edited out, they didn't go into.
Yeah.
That was a whole weird part of the plot.
Right. Can we talk about the little boy and
Oh my God.
That kid was almost scarier than the monster in this movie.
Well, the person did that. The person they got to dub for him, which I guess we should have mentioned, this movie is dubbed.
Well, I think it goes without saying, but yes, for those who aren't aware, in a lot of Italian horror, they have someone dub over in English.
Yeah, and for some reason they don't like to use kids for kid parts. I don't know why. Because it definitely wasn't a little kid who voiced either kid in this movie.
And it makes it even more disturbing.
And the fact that his name is Bob, which I don't know if it was a Robert, or I don't know how you look at a baby and go, yeah, I'm going to call him Bob. That looks like a Bob to me.
If we got any Bob listeners and you want to give us shit, just email us at streamingwiththelightson@gmail.com.
That's what Liv's best friend goes by. Shout out to Bob.
I did want to say one reason I thought the kid was super scary was that he had a Steve Tyler mouth from Aerosmith,
He did. Poor kid.
and he looked like someone photoshopped a huge man's mouth on this little kid, and I didn't like it.
And he had that the very 80s kid haircut where it goes kind of down to like their ears and it's got the middle part. See, Gen Z, you did not bring the middle, you did not invent the middle part. Watch House by the Cemetery. The middle part was there.
He already was not enjoying this little kid, Bob.
It was just hard to sympathize with him and get on the page where you were scared for him, except for, I will say, the very end I was worried for his safety.
Right.
I felt his parents were a little neglectful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really hard to get on board with, wanting this kid to survive.
And his friend, what was the little girl's name?
May.
May, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob and May have a weird friendship where, like, as soon as they get to England,
It's not England, it's Boston.
sorry, Boston, wherever, I don't know where we are in the world. As soon as they got to Boston, she's just like several blocks away, and they start talking to each other, and she's like, "I'm over here."
They were psychically communicating. It wasn't.
But the weird thing about it is, they're not really talking like the way people with telepathy do. They're not talking with their minds. They're just talking. They're literally talking at like indoor room level from several blocks away. And I get it, but it was just so strange and funny to see them just like, "I told you not to come. Yeah, my mom made me." This would be so annoying for parents if kids could just long distance, like, chat out loud to each other.
I mean, I'm not a fan of kids anyway, so
Yeah, well,
shout out to any kids listening. You probably shouldn't be listening to a horror movie podcast.
we're a rated R podcast, so shame on you.
I wanted to ask, as I had mentioned that this is part of the Gates of Hell trilogy, I will say, having seen City of the Living Dead, 100% that fits into it's a Gates of Hell movie. This one, I don't know if it was. I don't know if I would agree if it was a gate of hell to hell. When I knew the synopsis of this movie, I think, yeah, I could see it, but the way that it played out, I don't really think that it played out as a movie. And a gate to hell doesn't have to be something, grand or, over the top or like a physical entrance to hell, but this wasn't even close.
Yeah, because I don't even know what Gates of Hell means. Like, I know that it's a trilogy, but I've never seen the movies, so when you say it's not a Gates of Hell movie,
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
it is because it fits into his trilogy that he defined, but like City of the Living Dead, the plot of that movie is this priest hangs himself on a graveyard to start the process to open the gates of hell. And you can literally see, it takes place in this small town. The small town is cracking open, and the living dead, because it's called City of the Living Dead, start to come out, and like the climactic scene is very much struggling to, keep the gates from opening. So
I'll give you that, but as you said that, keep in mind that Dr. Freudstein hangs himself.
he does. That is correct.
So, could be a little something going on there.
Does he hang himself though? Because he's not dead.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, but they bring that whole point up with that creepy guy at the library, the creepy librarian.
Oh my god.
Like,
Can we talk about the
right
librarian
here.
for a second?
Sure.
Which I don't know if he was a librarian or he just was supposed to be like his assistant, or I don't know if I can find that guy's name. Oh, was it Daniel Douglas?
Maybe.
Or maybe it was Harold. I don't remember. It was one of them. And he was just, I don't know if it was the dubbing combined with the way that the actor was acting. He was just the most awkward, in a very creepy way, kind of character. Like, he knew something every single scene that he was in that the other character didn't know. And like, he was really bad at hiding it. Which is, fine for like a scene or two, but that was every single time he was on camera. He had that look on his face where he awkwardly knew more than he was telling, and not in like a scary way, just kind of in a uncomfortable way. Does that make sense? He was a very uncomfortable character to watch on screen.
Yeah, he was trying really hard to be suspicious. and he did a good job.
Which is weird because I don't feel like any of the characters who acted suspicious really gave anything away.
Right.
So they were just suspicious to be suspicious.
Yes.
I just don't trust small towns. I don't trust small towns. I'm sorry if you're from a small town, but I don't trust them. I don't trust everybody knowing everything and then not telling you. So, do you want to talk about the plot holes?
Well, let me see. Well, there's just so much.
There's so much. Okay.
There's so much.
I had on my notes, I said, oddly enough, the plot holes did not take away from my enjoyment. And then in all caps, I added, well, there were plot holes. Because, I can get really caught up in a bad plot hole. And I can rant about them. But for some reason, they didn't take away from the movie for me. I felt like it was it was a weird atmosphere, and the plot holes just kind of added to it for me.
I agree because
Oh,
there are some movies.
You agree?
Well, to preface, I'm not yet sure what plot holes you're talking about until you go over them.
I meant all of them. All of them.
All the plot holes. Okay.
All of them, yeah.
I don't know which ones those are. I will say maybe that's a good thing because this movie is some of the acting is very over the top and people act very strange.
Yes.
That kind of lends some credence, kind of like a David Lynch movie, where if people are talking weird and one of them starts floating, I'm not really going to be that surprised. So tell me the plot holes. Break it down for me.
I think there are two that I can really remember solidly as getting on my nerves.
Okay.
The wife calls the realtor and says, or the realtor's office, or she meets them at the office really late at night, I think, because the other guy was yawning so much. So I think it was like 2 a.m. when she called them into the office, which is a big Karen move. But she calls them in and demands that they move out the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, fair enough. That bat scene was traumatic for me, and I wasn't even in the room. So he goes, oh, I'll talk to the real estate agent, and she'll find something. And then she stops by at, again, another unknown time. I don't know the time that she stopped by, but the house was empty. And, then the realtor gets murdered. And then the family just continues living in the house. They don't reach out to the real estate agent again.
Yeah.
Or the office again to say, hey, this lady never stepped by. I want out of this house. And it's just kind of, they just keep living their lives there.
It is weird, their motivation.
It bugged me, yeah. But not enough that I need to rant about it. But yeah, that was one of them. And then I had mentioned the whole babysitter thing. And I don't know if this is an American conditioning thing that I have that I need to work out psychologically, but I fully expected the husband to sleep with the babysitter, and that didn't happen.
I did too.
Okay. Okay. Because it was like they were putting the vibes out there, and he was checking her out, and then it never happened. And I'm not saying I wanted it to happen, because it inappropriate, obviously, and the age of the babysitter was never stated. But it was just weird that it never happened when they were clearly pushing toward that.
Yeah, I mean, it was already weird enough that we have to keep looking at her
eyes.
And there's just some weird interactions.
I also thought she might be dead the whole time, too. And then
I thought she was the mannequin that came to life. Because they keep showing you the mannequin, like, okay.
I almost choked. I took a sip at the wrong time because that made so much sense. Because that was her acting. That was literally her acting. She was basically a mannequin the whole time.
Yeah. And that I would have been like, that's brilliant.
Okay, so you know how the little girl has the vision of the mannequin and the mannequin gets beheaded?
Right.
What if the little girl made the mannequin come to life to be the boy's babysitter to hopefully protect him?
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Definitely probably not true, but it would have been an interesting life-size kind of plot.
I just love how the mom is standing there in the kitchen asking questions that get ignored. And she just walks towards her, and then we just go to a new scene. I mean, yeah, I guess if someone's looking at me and not saying anything, that'd be pretty weird.
See, these are the kind of plot holes where
Oh, and I have to say that scene, the way that scene starts is with Anne wiping up a bunch of blood.
yes,
I'm assuming that blood is from the,
the real estate agent.
getting,
I thought that too, and I was wondering why they didn't mention how much blood, but that was, I think the bat attack was the night before.
yeah, it's either like that scene was supposed to come after that, or,
Yeah, exactly.
which could be the case. I took it to be the way that they put that in the movie. It was like, she's in on it, she's cleaning up all this blood, and the mom just never,
Nobody acknowledges it.
the babysitter's wiping up blood and nobody cares.
Right. Very American Horror Story. I just keep thinking of the first season of American Horror Story, with the maid
Yeah.
and the dad. But imagine that masturbation scene from American Horror Story being put into this film
Oh
where
my
he's
god.
crying and
I don't want to.
sorry, mom and dad. I wanted to say, part of me wonders if these scenes almost really not fitting together in the best way, and there being stuff missing. I wonder if there's like a director's cut out there that makes more sense. I don't know. And I'm not gonna research it, but feel free to let us know on social media if there is a director's cut that explains all this stuff that we're missing.
I do have a plot hole that I thought of that you didn't bring up. The ring from the girl who died at the beginning of the movie. The dad finds the ring when he first goes in the basement, and it never comes up again. Like, it's so important that they show us that ring at the beginning of the movie.
I didn't pick up on it that it was a ring right away. I thought we were gonna have like a Quiet Place situation where he was gonna step on it and it was gonna go through his foot like a Quiet Place.
I did too, but then I realized, oh wait, that's not a nail, it's a ring. And it's the same ring. And that plot line was just like, fuck me then, I guess.
Fuck me for getting involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous. Yeah, I wanted to get into, and I guess these go hand in hand, talking about the gore and talking about what kind of horror movie this is.
Okay.
Because I know you had a nice bit talking about how the what do you call it, the blood
Splatter.
The splattering in this movie is very purposeful. There's like an art to it. And I mean, other than the acting being kind of over the top, along with the music and everything else, one thing that really feels giallo horror to me about this is the kills, because the kills are very over exaggerated. They're very drawn out. I'd say more so than like a staple giallo movie like Suspiria. I feel like this movie in particular, the kill scenes in this movie were very drawn out, and it was almost unsettling to me. Like, I knew that the gore was fake, but there was something unsettling about how much time they spent on watching people just kind of just kind of casually, slowly, thoughtfully get poked or like slit, and you're just watching them slowly die. And the gore is kind of fetishized. I don't know how I would have handled it if it was like today's real kind of gore, but yeah, for what it was, I will say it certainly had an effect on me.
There are some definitely giallo aspects to this movie, but why I hesitate to classify it in that particular subgenre is when I think of those movies, definitely has the same kind of gore and the same fetishized slasher violence. But when I think of giallo, I think of more of a murder mystery kind of plot to them. And this one had a little bit of a murder mystery plot. The term giallo, which apparently in Italian means yellow, but it comes from a series of cheap paperback mystery and crime thriller novels with yellow colors that were popular in Italy.
Huh.
So it's kind of, I would almost think it's a distant cousin to kind of like film noir.
Huh.
Obviously with a lot more gore and a lot more violence and all of that. But I would say it kind of fits in to, and obviously film noirs aren't really horror movies, but they would probably be closely related. If you put film noir with slashers, then I think you would get giallo. But yeah, so that's the main reason why I personally wouldn't classify it in that category, but definitely has the camera shot, the POV of the killer, where you see the arm with the weapon.
Yeah.
That's definitely giallo, and I'm saying that wrong, and it's just starting to spell it sound like jello.
You every time you say it,
It gets worse and worse.
Jello horror.
I think it's because I watched, and I'm gonna fucking mispronounce this, but I watched Argento. I almost called him Argentino. I watched Argento earlier today, so that whole genre is really fresh in my mind.
No, I actually didn't even think of that, but that's a good point. The singular hand with the knife.
Yes.
There are certain camera choices of what to film and what close-ups to get that certainly are reasons that I feel like it's... I don't say it's full-blown giallo horror, because I agree that it's a lot more subdued. But yeah, I do think that key moments like that definitely make it feel like a cousin to Argento stuff. Back to the babysitter, just because we thought she was so weird, and she was. I did kind of like, though, that when we see her right before her death, she's all of a sudden, like, kind of normal, and she's just, like, calling out for Bob, the little kid, and trying to find him in the house.
Actually being a babysitter.
And that's when we discover, she's going to get trapped in the basement and murdered. And I did like that in that moment, it was a gotcha, because, like, here I thought she was going to play some important, nefarious role. It turns out she didn't. She's just another victim.
I will say that the movie did do a good job of kind of keeping you guessing of who was actually involved in the killing, and,
Right.
whether it was a ghost and supernatural, or, like, I thought the babysitter was involved, too. So I think the film did do a good job of not fully being able to guess the ending.
Exactly. So yeah, I did like that. And I know, of course, that leads us into talking about getting closer to the end. Is there anything we want to cover before we get to the big monster mash?
I did have something I wanted to talk about with the end. I don't know if you want to call it funny in a dark way moment.
Sure.
Was when Bob was locked in the basement and the mom is trying to unlock the door. First of all, I like that she took her sweet time getting to the door. I don't have kids, but I feel like if I did have kids and my kid was screaming being locked in the basement door, I wouldn't saunter down there. I would run like hell, okay? She sauntered. I can't think of another word for casually walked.
Maybe she got a coffee again while she was on the way. We don't know.
And then she did her whole bit with trying to open the door, which fair enough, it was locked. And then, this is the part that I wanted to mention. The dad comes home and tells the little boy to move away from the door because he grabs an axe. Fair enough. The little boy, however, cannot move away from the door because the monster hand is pushing him against the door.
Yeah.
And instead of the dad maybe rethinking the axe method, just goes right ahead and starts swinging. And obviously the axe misses, barely twice. But I feel like, I mentioned it earlier, parental neglect. You could have gone higher than, your son's height, definitely, because he was not 6 foot tall.
The funny part is that, like, right after he, like, swings the axe a third time, gets the monster's hand, and the boy and him are both, like, away from the door, then it cuts to the dad, and now he's getting the axe at the top of the door. It's like, why didn't you just start there?
And then a really minor note with that whole thing when Bob goes down to the basement. They left dinner out.
That's your gripe. There's a monster in the basement, and
I'm not saying that you need to just fully do the dishes, because God knows I do not. But I think that you can at least, you don't have to, like, clean all the food off the plate, whatever. Just put them in the sink. Just put it, they literally, it's like they got up from the table and went to bed. That was it. And I was like, okay, I mean, maybe.
So Becca's point is, save the kid, but first, what is up with all these dishes?
I save the kid, but I think before they went to bed, she could have, maybe the babysitter did it, and the babysitter was dead, or missing, which that was another thing they never checked up on. They're like, oh, maybe she just went to her parents' house and never checked up on it. But yeah, when Bob went down there, it was like, you guys just really didn't even attempt to clear the table, did you?
Well, Becca has her priorities when it comes to watching movies.
Listen. Oh, that's what I wanted to add. but
Good.
the ending. So I wanted to talk about the very, very end. Did you want to talk about like the monster?
Yes, I definitely think it's worth mentioning
Okay.
because it's obviously the payoff for a lot of people watching the movie. We do get an appearance of the monster, aka Freudstein, aka Herbert West Reanimator.
AKA Flyman.
And we never see the Doctor monster until the end, but we see his hands. And when we do, I mean, it's creepy, but I have to say the most unsettling and my favorite part about the monster is that when it's in pain, they play this sound. It's supposed to be the sound of like a little boy or little kid crying. And it's so creepy to hear like an adult man turned zombie monster thing making little sobbing boy noises. Very unsettling, especially when it has no mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I found that very creepy. And of course, we did give a warning to some listeners. And Courtney, my partner, this is for you to cover your ears for a minute because I have to mention the maggots. I like how the fight scenes in this movie because it leads up to that. Like the dad, Norman, fights the monster, but it's not really even a fight. It's more like I'm going to walk up and stand in front of it and grab it for a second. I'm going to get pushed away, but now I'm going to grab a knife and walk over and put it in its stomach. And what comes out is like maggots and Fig Newton. Because it's just like this figgy pudding mush.
Shout out to anybody eating a Fig Newton right now.
Yeah, sorry everyone. And that was pretty disgusting. But then it's like he's just standing there and the monster just takes a swipe at him and just grabs his neck and rips his throat out. It's like, well, he didn't really put up much of a fight, I guess. Not many people do in this movie.
No, they don't. Definitely the climax was missing a lot of the fight that you would normally expect. Did you have anything you wanted to add? Because I did want to talk about Bob's ending.
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay, so Bob died, right?
I don't know.
Okay, so here's my argument for why he died, which they didn't show him dying, which I kind of appreciated because obviously violence on kids is very, very hard to watch.
Yeah.
And I would think it's pretty hard to portray that too as a filmmaker. But I do think I'm in the camp that he did die. He gets pulled out of the tomb in the house. That could be a whole another Becca rant. But he gets pulled out of the tomb in the house, but he gets pulled out of by May and her mother. And she says something she says something along the lines of him joining their household now.
Right.
That he's no longer just a guest. And it should be pointed out that Mary is married to Dr.
Freudstein.
Yeah, but I think it like the psychologist.
I don't know. I think someone was not feeling very creative one morning and was like, Freud's a doctor and Frankenstein.
Right.
It's Freudstein.
So one would assume that May was his daughter as well. So then the end of the movie is Mary, May, and Bob walking off, not into the sunset, into the gloom, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's how the movie ends. So my take was that Bob did die, and now in like the afterlife, he's being taken care of by Mary and May.
I'm not saying that isn't possible, but I feel like it would have been a little more obvious had they also shown that his parents went with him or something. It's like, why are none of the other victims ghosts? Why is it just these two children and this woman?
Fuck if I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost not worth asking because this movie always, every scene makes me say, well, fuck if I know.
I think that maybe, yeah, I don't have an answer to that. I mean, if that isn't the case and he lived, ghosts are going to take care of him now.
Now that you're saying this, I feel like the moment he died is the moment I thought I was literally about to see in that movie, but didn't happen. And I think out loud, I was like, no, they're not going to, because he's trying to get out from the floor.
Right.
And his big old head is the only thing that gets in the way. And he finally gets out of it, but he can't get the rest of his body. I'm like, it's going to grab his leg and pull and pop his head off.
I will say the kid acting nailed that scene. You felt pretty terrified for that little boy. He did an excellent job crying and
Yeah,
being desperate to get out and all of that. So wherever you fall on whether Bob died or not, I personally am in the Bob died camp.
yeah,
I think it just makes sense with the rest of the ending of the movie, but if you want to be an optimist and he survived and is now being taken in by ghosts, you go for it. But I will say that when like the little girl was showing him Mary's grave, she said that she wasn't buried there. So maybe Mary isn't the ghost, but I think that she is.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Basically, we don't know.
And then the very last shot of the movie has a quote by Henry James, and it says, "No one will ever know if children are monsters or monsters are children."
I saw that quote. And it made no sense to the rest of the movie. It was like, okay, maybe if you put that like at the end of Children of the Corn or like Bad Seed or
I will say, it was interesting that the monster does make child noises. So I don't know.
what are you saying that maybe Bob was the monster all
Are
along?
monsters children or are children monsters? Who knows? That's our film degree hard at work.
Right? I like to tell everybody when I tell them I had a film degree, you can have any kind of opinion as long as you can back it up from evidence with the movie.
Yes, you can.
which is what writing film papers is all about.
And to our film majors listening, if any professor or anyone asks if a certain theme was going on in your movie, you say yes.
Always agree.
I had two little last notes here of things I thought creeped me out.
Go for it.
One, when Bob is caressing that doll in the grass. There's something real uncomfortable about it. It's too big. It's like the size of him,
Yeah, it is a big doll.
but he's petting it like a kid would with like a Barbie doll. But it's like this giant child-sized doll, and he's like caressing it and like running his hand over its leg. I'm like, stop, stop, you terrible kid. The other thing that it did make me uncomfortable, but I thought it was a good line, was when Bob goes back down to the basement and he says, "Mommy said you're not dead." He's trying to talk to the babysitter. And it says, "Is that true?" And I just thought, like, she's going to come back. She's going to answer him, come around the corner with that head.
Oh my god.
That's a great line.
Tonight I learned you're a Bob stan.
No, I'm terrified of Bob. Get him and his big mouth away from my TV screen.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, that's all of my general thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add
Okay.
to that. Like I said, I do think I prefer this one over City of the Living Dead. I haven't seen The Beyond, so I don't know where I would rank that one in the trilogy, but this one definitely ranked above.
So what about rewatchability? Final thoughts?
Rewatchability was not there for me. In terms of the glare situation, I don't remember it being that dark of a movie, so you might get away with watching it during the day. So I don't think it's a full beware the glare situation. I didn't hate it, didn't love it, didn't make me go nope in any kind of way. I did really appreciate, like I said, the blood splatter. A lot of Italian horror films from the 70s and 80s have that. I guess it's not really charm. It's charmed us because we aren't Italian, and things that maybe are referenced in Italian culture we don't understand because we are very American. So I love watching a good Italian horror film because you are transported to another world. And I feel like with such a bold title of The House by the Cemetery,
You really never go to the cemetery much.
yeah, it really doesn't play a factor at all. You either got to go like zombies or ghosts. You got neither. It wasn't the movie that I was expecting it to be. Like I said, I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. And to conclude, I gave it, this might surprise you, 3.5 out of 5.
Oh, that does surprise me.
Yeah, because like I said, I did enjoy it, and I really liked the gore. I really did like Bob's acting at the end as well. He was very convincing. And it was quirky, you know? I love a good quirky movie.
There you go. Yeah, a quirky horror movie.
I love a good blood splatter. I do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not upset that I saw it, but I don't find myself reaching for this again anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bit underwhelming. I've seen a lot of things done in this movie before. Not that it wasn't done well, but yeah, it had some moments. I'm going to go ahead and probably give this, I'll be generous and give this a 3 out of 5.
I'm going to go ahead and put our rating at a 3 because I thought about this after I rated it. I was like, if Brian goes a 3, I'm going to make it a 3, I think, for the average, just because I think it was definitely more of a 3 than a...
Well, never sell yourself short, but...
This one, I think it's necessary. It's okay to be sold short. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to our letterboxd, which you can find at SWTLO. If you follow us, we will definitely follow you back. And the rest of our social media is SWTLO Podcast. Oh, and our email address is streamingwiththelightson@gmail.com. We got our first email today from a fan.
Yeah.
Also my uncle.
What up, Andy? What's up, Becca's uncle? Welcome to the party.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Andy. Thank you for sending us an email. We got really, really excited about it. You beat out my parents because my parents definitely did not send me an email.
Oh, shots fired.
They also said, though, my dad told me not to tell you this, but he did say that I was the more intelligent one on the podcast. So.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Dad can say that.
So yeah, do you want to tell him? You probably do not remember what we're going to watch next time.
We are going to watch...
I'm going to be very impressed if you remember.
We are going to watch Army of the Dead.
No.
Okay.
I mean, we'll watch it one day, but we had a very long discussion why we're not watching Army of the Dead.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So next week we will be watching Becky, starring Kevin James and Joel McHale, and that came out in 2020. So that is currently available only on Showtime because it is a newer release. But that is what we'll be watching next week. So.
Well, that about does it for this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks again, all, for tuning in. Hope you stick around with us and stream with us for next week.
Reach out to us, like I said, on Twitter and Instagram. We would love to hear recommendations, what you thought of House by the Cemetery, if you consider it a giallo film or not. If you want to rip me a new one because I don't consider it a giallo film, go ahead and do that.
And if you feel like it, leave us a rating and a review on whatever you get your streaming, whatever you get your podcasts on.
Yes, that would be most excellent.
Well, you gonna go cleanse your palate now after...
I'm gonna have to. I'm probably gonna watch Community for a little bit.
I literally just watched this movie before recording. That's a Brian thing to do. So I'm probably just gonna put on my dumb Discovery Plus shows about Bigfoot, and somehow that'll be better for me.
Well, that sounds great. And once again, I am Becca.
I'm Brian.
And this has been Streaming with the Lights On,
a podcast.
I was waiting for you to say your catchphrase.
Stream you later. Oh, it's terrible.
That was a very October ending.
Yes, it was. Woo!